Very quick story about Rob, and I'll give you the time you need. Last year when I wanted to meet with him, I met with him the day after this. He didn't even mention any of this, but in New York City, in America, we have Thanksgiving. And apparently one of Rob's passions has been to feed the hunger and feed the homeless, particularly around the holiday time. And I don't know how he did it, but last year with working, I guess, with Robin Hood Foundation, he managed to purchase 650,000 pounds of turkey. 655,000. No, 650,000 pounds. 8,000 turkeys.
And all the trimmings.
And all the trimmings. And then he found a way to feed 8,000 or so families in New York City. In other words, basically everyone who's documented to be homeless all had a Thanksgiving dinner. This gentleman, he motivated 500 people to volunteer. And of course, he didn't mention any of this when I met him the next day. It was just like, business as usual. So I said, fuck him. But he is a saint, and he is an angel, and he's an amazing person who knows how to make meaningful connections, because he does it all the time. And I just think he's an awesome person. So give it up, please.
Thanks, Jeff. That's a hell of an introduction. How many people here took part in protests in Israel? I'm just curious. More than half of the audience. So it's interesting. I don't know if you guys, obviously you're following it here, but globally right now, in about 800 different places around the world, there are people out on the street protesting. So I've been sort of asking myself the question, why? Has governments gotten worse? Is big business more influential? And I don't think it is. I think governments are still the same. What I think has changed is us. I think our expectation of connection in the world is here. See, I think about, like, if I took a picture of everyone and put on my Facebook page right now, I would have in 2 minutes friends and family and people tweeting me, and if there's a problem at work, I get an instant message or an SMS immediately, and I'm connected to my friends and my family and my colleagues, but I'm not connected to my government. So it's interesting, about 2 weeks ago, I was reading an article in the New York Times, and the scientist went out and she took a group of children and a group of chimpanzees, and she put them in a room, and she had them do tasks, and what she found, about 80% of the time, the kids would work together to complete a task. Where only about 50% of the time, the chimpanzees would actually work together. And what her hypothesis, or what her end results, and this research that came out, she said that for human beings, connection and community is the most important thing in our lives. It's part of our DNA. It's what makes us uniquely human. So when we're disconnected, we protest. When we're disconnected, we rebel. So down the block from me, where I live in New York, in downtown New York, there's right now Occupy Wall Street. And it's interesting, I went down there a couple times, and they've got these signs. I'm part of the 99%. And there's been this basically that the 1% of people in the world are the people who are rich. And the 99%, and it's been very much a class distinction, and that's what I've seen. So I've been sort of scratching my head because I'm pissed. I want change, and I know I'm a part of the 1%. A lot of people in here are part of that 1%, but we want change. So I started to think about, what is that all about? And I've come to this conclusion that the 99% is about us feeling disconnected. 99% of us are disconnected from our governments. And there's a 1% that is connected. I know there's 1% out there that can SMS my congressman and get a lunch tomorrow, or get something changed. But I'm not part of it. So it's interesting because, if you look at Washington, D.C., it's actually not a state. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's not a state. It was a place to actually go visit at one time. And the way our country worked was that you would go and take your horse, ride it into town, you would vote, and then you go back to your community where you lived as a representative, and you'd be connected to your community. And today, It's basically a place where people live. And it's a place where the 1% lives. And I even saw here when you guys were protesting, I remember I was here and I was reading in the newspaper about people in the Knesset went on vacation, right? Do you remember this? That pissed you off, right? It's like, how disconnected are you from us? We're out here in tents. The 600,000, 10% of the population is out here protesting and you're going on vacation. I even think about our countries. Think of the state of Israel. It was formed out of being disconnected. There were people during the war, after the war, that were disconnected from their homes, from their families, and you formed a country to get that connection back. You formed a country to get that community back. Even in the United States, we fought because we had a government that was so far away from us, they were so disconnected from us that we fought and we died and we created a country out of it. So it's interesting because I think about what's our global demand now? What is our global demand? Because this is a global demand that's being made. So I think our global demand now is we want direct and meaningful connection with our government. We want a direct democracy. And I think about it, and I think about this voting process, like, I want to be able to vote without representation. I mean, do you guys, I have one of these, right? How many people have one of these? And I think about, we could vote with this thing. We don't need people representing us anymore. We can have that connection with our governments. So the question is, and I think about for us, the challenge is, are we ready to take control? Are we ready to make a vote? Are we ready to say, we don't want to go to war? And as a society, as a community, we vote that in. So I really feel like we're on the edge of something, and I've been studying connection with my company for 2 years. I mean, I've actually brought it to my company and flattened the organization, and I see the power of it. And I think about the kind of change, meaningful change it can make in the world. And I just hope that right now it seems like we're on the verge of trying to do the same things in our countries. So with that, I look forward to getting meaningfully connected, and I hope that we can build a greater sense of community. So thank you.